I'm Dustin Thurman discussing Unit 15 of ATM 101X. In northern Alaska, during the winter, there's no sun. So the day-night variations in temperature are almost the same. Because without the sun to warm the ocean or warm the land, there's no land-sea-air cycle. So temperatures are the same. As it warms up through February and March, and the sun starts to come out, you'll see more of a variation between the temperatures because, like I said, the sun's finally starting to come out, so the sea will actually warm up. And the land will warm up, and there might be a difference between temperatures because of the sun. When it's warmer in northern Alaska, that usually means a low-pressure system has moved in. A low-pressure system brings with it warm air and rain. Normally, there is a high system that sits over Alaska during the winter, which results in cold, clear skies. The humidity is a good way to detect air systems that have moved over Kotzebue. On this chart, you can see where a low-pressure system starts to move in the Kotzebue on the 30th. On this one, the changes are far more dramatic throughout the week. But at the end of the week, you can see it suddenly spike up when a storm system started moving north. I'll get to that later. The dew point, though, is related more to temperature than humidity. As it gets colder, it requires less energy. Water vapor is more likely to stick to surfaces at a lower temperature. February 1st is when a low system moved in. On this chart, at the end of the week, a storm system moved in, which warmed up the average temperature of Kotzebue. Here you can see the direction the wind is moving. In January, February, the wind was moving from the Pacific, bringing with it far more moisture and a low system that started to push the high systems out of the way. 31st, there was rain, as those low systems pushed most of the clouds out of the way, opened up clear skies, and brought in more warm air. On the 1st, the high systems moved back in, pushing the low systems out and making the temperatures drop down to normal. The 31st would have caused the drop in dew point. That sudden changed a lot. Feeling winds. It pushes moisture from the Pacific towards Kotzebue into Alaska. In March, the same effect happens again, pushing warmer air and more moisture from the Pacific in the Kotzebue. In March, the high systems were not started over Alaska as much, and Kotzebue had a relatively medium pressure system. A low system from the Pacific started moving towards Alaska. On the 25th, a storm started to form within the Gulf of Alaska. The high system started to push the two low systems that had been centered in the middle of the state out, and wind continued to push the low system forming over the Gulf towards Alaska. On the 29th, a storm system formed within the Gulf, which pushed low systems up towards the north and more precipitation that reduce the cloud cover, push warm air up in the Kotzebue, and will explain the sudden rise in temperatures. On my analysis, on the best, what represents the Kotzebue climate in March would be on the 22nd. Relatively stable pressure systems just hanging around Alaska with snow. For February and January, the 28th represent what I think of as the typical Alaska winter. A high system centered over northern Alaska that keeps most of the snow out of northern Alaska. Relatively wet low systems hanging around the south where there is more precipitation throughout the year. And honestly, it's not unusual for there to be a temperature spike during mid-March in Alaska.